Hello, this is a dwarf runner bean called the Sutton. I've grown these guys before. I didn't grow them last year, but I have grown them before. But I've never used these deep root trainers before. This is a first for me, and I think, as you can see, I probably left it a bit late. These guys possibly should have been in by now, but anyway, we are where we are. So we're going to plant this dwarf broad bean, the Sutton, today, and we're going to put 4 in a pot. Oh, there they go, look. That's them. Now we're probably going to lose some roots when we take these out, I don't know, but if we do, it doesn't matter because there are plenty. And what I'm also going to do with this video, because I've grown these before, I'm going to attach onto this video a previous harvest, so you'll get a chance to see what's possible from these 10-inch pots growing these dwarf broad beans. I also grew some dwarf runner beans in these pots, and that's in the same video, so if you stay till the end you will actually see a reveal, would you believe. So let's get to see if we can get these guys in. And while I'm popping them in, let me tell you, I've just read in the paper today we've just had our driest winter for the last 20 years. Does that sound right? Driest winter in the last 20 years we've just had it, and we're in the spring of the year now, and all the signs are there that it has been dry. I'm going to clip a couple of photos up now. I'll give you an example of that. Firstly, in our local area there's a river that has English pearl mussels in it, would you believe? English freshwater mussels. They're protected by law. You're not allowed to go into the river anywhere near them or disturb them. So I took this photograph from a bridge. Pause the photograph, see if you can see the mussels, and then I'll put a better photograph up. Did you see them? Could you see them? Right, I'll pop another photograph up now, and this one is a zoomed in photograph, and there are 4 pearl mussels in the shot. You've got to be able to see these. Okay, did you see them? That's the English freshwater pearl mussel. Now then, the reason I got that good shot was, well, there's 2 reasons really. Firstly, I took it off a bridge, so I wasn't in the river, I was above them on a bridge. But secondly, there wasn't much water in that river. It was quite low. Too low really for the pearl mussels. They'll suffer if it goes much lower. So that's why we got a decent shot. When the river's running, when there's water in the river, quite a bit of water in the river, you don't get that stillness for a decent shot. And if you don't get that stillness, then you don't get the shot, do you? Obviously. How's that? That didn't take long, did it? Now also, while I was up there, I took a shot of a small clip of film of Molly walking in the lake, just in the edge, me on the edge of the lake, and the shoreline that I'm walking on, it's the exposed lake bed along the shoreline. That's normally covered with water. So the lake's down, the river's down. Find it, Mo. What is it? and one more shot, and that's a dried up stream. It's not in the same location, it's in the same area but not the same location, and a dried up stream, and that's what it's been like the winter months. We're in the spring months now, and I'm struggling to actually keep everything wet. To be honest, I think I've carried more water than Gunga Din. You get that one? Gunga Din. You might need to Google that. Unless you're of a certain age and a military background, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. Okay, now then, that wind and that dryness, we can protect against it using these. These are cut off pop bottles. Okay, we put these over the plants, it stops the wind blowing them. If I can feed these through without breaking them, I'll be really pleased. Oh, come on, give them a shake. How good's that? And then what do we hold those in place with? Come on, you watch my videos, what do we hold them in place with so they won't blow off? Rocket sticks. So the compost is soil-based compost, it's recycled. The pop bottles are recycled. Ex-cut flower water bucket recycled. Rocket sticks recycled. Got these given by a gardening friend of mine. Just give them a drink of water. So stay with this, watch the end of this video, and you'll see some dwarf broad beans being harvested, and you'll see some dwarf runner beans being harvested. The reason I'm not potting up runner beans now is because they're not ready. They tend to come along behind the broad beans to the runner beans. I'm sure you know that anyway, but that's why I'm not doing that. I'll do that later on this month, I hope. It's that time of year where most of the flowers on the dwarf runner beans and dwarf broad beans have set. We now have pods and they're ready to harvest. I'm going to take them all today. So we'll do the dwarf runner beans first, and this is a bean called tender green. These are 10-inch pots and there's 4 beans growing in each pot. Okay, this is tender green. As you can see, these guys are ready now. There's no point in leaving them any longer. Let's get them off. And I grew 2 pots of each, 2 pots of dwarf runner beans and 2 pots of dwarf broad beans. I think Molly's trying to help me pick these beans, isn't she? Yeah. Okay. So you don't get a lot, but remember, this is a 10-inch pot on a patio. If you've got more ground, you'd be growing standard sized beans, wouldn't you? But if you're short of ground, if you're short of space, this could be something you might want to try. Not bad from a plant pot, is it? And these beans tend to be a more rounder bean. The pod's more round than flat. A standard runner bean tends to be a flat pod. These tend to be a rounder pod. But they're a lovely bean. I've had these before. That's one fell through the net, but I won't be recovering that one. It's been recovered for me. Okay, so that's our dwarf runner bean. Worth growing, don't you think? Yeah, of course it is. We'll get the dwarf broad beans now. Okay, these are the dwarf broad beans. I'm sure you can see those. This is a bean called the Sutton. I'm going to take them all, big or small, because we're at the end of the season now. The smaller ones won't get much bigger, so we may as well have them all. And the ones that fall, my gardening assistant will do the tidy up, I'm sure. This is the second pot. Not a bad bean. What do you say? So if you fancy growing these things in pots on your patio, this is the sort of harvest you can expect, I guess. And it's up to you whether you decide it's worthwhile or not. Okay. Broad beans, dwarf broad beans, dwarf runner beans. What do you think? I think it's worthwhile.